My family had a favorite joke. Every Thanksgiving, every birthday, every wedding, someone would eventually raise a glass and say, "At least Daniel keeps us humble." The room would explode with laughter. I would smile. Because after hearing the same joke for 15 years, what else was I supposed to do? My older brother Ethan was a surgeon. My younger sister Melissa owned 3 luxury boutiques. Even my cousin Jake had become some social media celebrity with millions of followers posting videos of expensive cars he didn't actually own. And then there was me. Daniel Carter. 34 years old. Single. No mansion. No sports car. No fancy title. I ran a small industrial design company that most people had never heard of. According to my family, I was the cautionary tale. The disappointment. The son who had wasted his potential. My mother loved comparing us. Ethan saves lives. Melissa employs dozens of people. Then she'd look at me. And Daniel draws things on computers. Everyone laughed. Every single time. The truth was that I stopped defending myself years ago. Not because they were right. Because they never listened. I designed manufacturing systems and specialized equipment for factories. The work wasn't glamorous. Most people couldn't understand it. When I explained it, their eyes glazed over. So eventually I stopped explaining. If people wanted to think I was a failure, fine. Let them. That strategy worked until the day my cousin Rebecca got engaged. The wedding became the social event of the year for our family. Rebecca was marrying Tyler Monroe, the son of a powerful real estate developer. The venue alone reportedly cost more than most houses. For 6 months, every family gathering revolved around the wedding. Every conversation became a competition. Who bought the best gift? Who was wearing what? Who would sit at the important tables? I attended the rehearsals mostly because my grandmother begged me. Family matters, she'd say. I wasn't convinced. But Grandma had always believed in me. So I went. The rehearsal dinner was held at an enormous country club overlooking a lake. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Servers floated through the room carrying trays of champagne. I immediately felt out of place. Not because I couldn't afford it. Because I hated events where success was measured by labels and appearances. Within 10 minutes, the jokes started. Jake spotted me first. Well, look who made it. A few relatives turned. Daniel. Still driving that old truck? More laughter. Actually, yes, I said. That's adorable, Melissa replied. Some people collect vintage cars. Daniel collects maintenance bills. The table erupted again. I smiled politely. My mother shook her head. You know, sweetheart, if you'd just taken one of those offers from Ethan's hospital years ago, you'd probably have a real career by now. I sipped my water. No response. Experience taught me silence was easier. Then came the final blow. The one that nearly made me leave. A wealthy guest asked what I did for a living. Before I could answer, Ethan jumped in. Honestly? None of us are completely sure. More laughter. He designs things. What kind of things? No clue. Maybe logos? Someone snorted. Or coffee mugs. Even the stranger laughed. I felt my face burn. 34 years old. Still being treated like an idiot by people who should have known better. I stood. Excuse me. I walked toward the outdoor terrace. The night air felt cooler than the room behind me. For a few minutes, I stared at the lake and considered leaving. Then a voice spoke beside me. Funny thing about successful people. I turned. An older man stood there. Silver hair. Expensive suit. Calm eyes. I recognized him immediately. Richard Bennett. The bride's future father-in-law. A man worth hundreds of millions. Most people talk too much about their success, he said. I smiled weakly. Maybe. He looked at me carefully. You're Daniel Carter, aren't you? That surprised me. Yes. His expression changed. Not recognition. Respect. Actual respect. Good Lord, he said softly. I've been trying to meet you for almost 2 years. For a second, I thought he had mistaken me for someone else. I'm sorry. Richard Bennett extended his hand. Richard Bennett. I know who you are. He laughed. Apparently, I know who you are too. I shook his hand. Still confused. Then he said words that changed the entire evening. You designed the adaptive conveyor optimization system for Hargrave Manufacturing, didn't you? I blinked. Yes. How much money did it save them? About 60 million over 5 years. He grinned. I thought so. My heart skipped. Very few people knew about that project. Most of the work had been protected by confidentiality agreements. How do you know about that? Because I tried to buy the company that implemented it. Now I was staring. Richard continued. They wouldn't stop talking about you. The room behind us continued buzzing with conversation. Meanwhile, my brain struggled to process what was happening. You've heard of me? Richard laughed loudly. Heard of you? Daniel, half the manufacturing executives I know have heard of you. I genuinely didn't know what to say. For years, I had been invisible in my own family. Now one of the wealthiest men in the state was treating me like a celebrity. Richard leaned against the railing. Your logistics redesign in Ohio saved another company nearly 40 million. You created the automated sorting architecture used in 3 major facilities. You patented a modular production framework that's being copied everywhere. He shook his head. Frankly, I'm annoyed you aren't available. What? I've been trying to hire you. I laughed nervously. I think you've got the wrong impression. No, he said. I don't. Then came the moment that changed everything. Richard placed a hand on my shoulder and raised his voice. Actually, I know exactly who you are. Several nearby guests turned. Then more. And more. Within seconds, people were looking toward us. What are you talking about? Someone asked. Richard smiled. This young man designed one of the most efficient manufacturing systems in North America. Silence. Complete silence. The kind that only happens when a room collectively stops breathing. My brother stared. Melissa froze. Jake's grin disappeared. Richard continued. Companies compete for his consultation. He's responsible for hundreds of millions in operational improvements. And if rumors are true, he turned down acquisition offers worth more than some public companies. I wanted the floor to swallow me. But Richard wasn't finished. Frankly, he said, looking around the room, he's one of the most respected innovators in his industry. No one laughed. Not this time. My mother looked stunned. Ethan actually looked pale. One guest asked, how much is his company worth? I immediately wished nobody had asked. Richard answered before I could. Last estimate I heard? He shrugged. Somewhere between 150 and 200 million. The silence somehow became even louder. I saw my sister's jaw drop. Jake nearly choked on his drink. My mother looked like she might faint. I finally managed to speak. Richard, that's enough. He smiled. No. Then he looked directly at my relatives. You know what's interesting? Nobody answered. The truly brilliant people rarely spend their lives telling everyone how brilliant they are. The words landed like a hammer. Everyone understood exactly what he meant. Richard turned back toward me. Come have lunch next week. I'd like to discuss a partnership. I nodded. Sure. Excellent. Then he walked away. Just like that. Leaving an entire room staring at me. The next 30 minutes felt surreal. People who had ignored me all evening suddenly wanted conversations. Business cards appeared. Questions appeared. Compliments appeared. Apparently respect arrived the moment someone rich confirmed I deserved it. Funny how that works. Eventually my mother approached. Daniel. I looked at her. Her voice sounded unfamiliar. Careful. Almost nervous. Why didn't you tell us? I stared for a second. Then smiled sadly. I did. What? For years. Nobody listened. She had no response. Because she knew it was true. Ethan appeared next. The golden child. The surgeon. The family hero. For the first time in my life, he seemed uncertain around me. Congratulations, he said. I nodded. Thanks. You built all that yourself? Yes. Another silence. Then he quietly said, I didn't know. I looked at him. You never asked. He lowered his eyes. That was answer enough. The wedding happened the next day. But the atmosphere had changed completely. People treated me differently. Servers. Guests. Relatives. Everyone. And honestly, I hated it. Because nothing about me had changed. Not one thing. I was exactly the same person I'd been 48 hours earlier. The only difference was that now people knew my bank account and accomplishments. Apparently that was all it took. During the reception, Grandma found me sitting alone near the garden. She smiled. I hear everyone's discovered you're not a failure. I laughed. Seems that way. She squeezed my hand. I knew that years ago. My throat tightened. Thanks, Grandma. She nodded. People often confuse visibility with value. I looked at her. She continued. Some flowers bloom where everyone can see them. Others grow quietly and hold entire hillsides together. I never forgot those words. A week later, Richard and I had lunch. 3 months later, we signed a partnership agreement. 1 year later, my company doubled in size. But the biggest change wasn't financial. It was personal. My family stopped making jokes. The comparisons disappeared. The insults vanished. And yet something unexpected happened. I no longer cared. Because the rehearsal dinner taught me something important. The recognition wasn't what healed me. The money wasn't what healed me. Even Richard Bennett's respect wasn't what healed me. What healed me was realizing that their opinion had never defined my worth in the first place. For years, I'd secretly hoped they would finally see me. Finally approve of me. Finally validate me. Then the moment arrived. And it felt strangely empty. Because I discovered something better. I didn't need permission to value my own work. I didn't need applause to know what I'd built. I didn't need family approval to measure my success. The people running factories across the country already knew my name. The employees whose jobs became safer because of my systems already knew my value. The clients whose businesses survived because of my designs already understood my impact. I never needed a spotlight. I just needed perspective. 2 years after the wedding, we hosted a family reunion. As usual, everyone gathered around the dinner table. Stories flowed. Laughter echoed. At one point Jake raised a glass. The room grew quiet. I noticed several relatives exchanged nervous glances. Old habits die hard. Jake smiled awkwardly. Here's to Daniel. I raised an eyebrow. Why? He laughed. Because he's proof that just because we don't understand someone's path doesn't mean they're lost. The room chuckled softly. A different kind of laughter. Kinder. Respectful. Then my mother added something I'll never forget. We spent years looking at titles. She looked directly at me, when we should have been looking at character. The table fell silent. I saw genuine regret in her eyes. For the first time, I believed it. I smiled. It's okay. And surprisingly, it was. Because success had never been proving them wrong. Success was building a life that didn't depend on their opinion. The multimillionaire may have revealed my accomplishments. But he didn't reveal my worth. That had been there all along. The only people who couldn't see it were the ones standing closest to me. And by the time they finally did, I had already learned the most important lesson of all. The loudest critics are not always the best judges of your value. Sometimes they're simply the last people to recognize it.